It's a lot of them cats that I fuck with, especially when I'm in the gym. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just think that I like it. I don't have an issue with it. Now, what I will say is I think there's a lack of balance. Um, back in our day, talking about the 80s and the 90s, even the 2000s, but mainly in the 80s and the 90s, you had balance. So you had different types of hip hop. You had gangster rap, you had kind of player shit, you had Miami bass, you had all these little different genres of hip hop. You had horrorcore with
Yeah.
Gangsta Nip, Brother Lynch, X-Rated, Esham.
Conscious. Yeah,
Uh,
conscious.
yeah, then you had Conscious and you had X Clan, you had Public Enemy. So you had this balance where now originality is not like it was back then too. Cause back then you couldn't sound like nobody. Like
Hell
motherfuckers,
no.
you was biting, so you just couldn't. But see now, but I understand, now it's about a vibe. It ain't even hip hop. It's not even culture anymore. It's just rap and it's just a vibe. You know what I mean? So the sensibility is different. So that's we gotta those are two different conversations when you're talking hip hop and rap. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Because hip hop is more of the culture, so I think that's the only difference. But in totality, to answer your question, I love the new music and I love what they doing. I just wish it was just more balance and more variety.
I agree with you on that one. Yeah. I wish it was a little bit more originality so that you kind of
Yeah.
had different. Yeah. So I definitely agree with. Well, shoot, I just wanted to, because I wanted to close out that, since we was on the hip hop thing, I kind of wanted to
Hmm.
close out the music. Now, I know you've been dabbling in acting and producing and filmmaking. And so
Hmm.
I wanted to know, can you tell us about your latest anthology film? Because you got the block trilogies, and then you
Hmm.
have a new film that you're doing called A Little Piece of Heaven.
Yeah, yeah. So, obviously I ventured out into producing and acting as far back as, like you said, as we talked about Young American Gangsters. That was the first movie I did with Cat Williams. I financed it. I starred in it. I did all the business with it. And that was what, oh six, oh seven, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think as a rapper, as a performer, it's a natural transition to get into some type of other form of of performing or whatever, a different space. So I was able to that's why I moved to LA, because music was cool. See, people don't understand. I started rapping really, really young. I started writing raps at 13, 14 years old. So you're talking about 1989, 1990.
Oh,
So
man.
all the stuff I did, up until 95, and then everything I did through the 90s up to the early 2000s. So around the time that the early 2000s come, I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of burnt out. I'm already 10, 12 years into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even though I'm just in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? I'm just in my mid 20s, early mid 20s, but I'm kind of like, shit, I've been doing this 12, 13, 14 years at that point. So, um, it's so I just always had a thing of wanting to, I've always been a creative person. I used to could draw, write poetry, all of that. So I just wanted to be able to get into movies. So it started then with the Cat Williams movie in 2006. Um, and so I've done a dozen or so movies as an actor. But of course, here recently, uh, because of technology, the business part of it is a lot, and the production part of it is a lot simpler than it was 20 years ago. Because 20, 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have streaming, we didn't have digital cameras. Back then you was still using shit 16 millimeter, 35 millimeter, which is super expensive,
Yeah.
and or you was using digital tape, which was still expensive because you had to rent the lens and you had the big ass camera. So with advancements in technology, it's been a lot easier to create content. So the new movie that I co-produced, block trilogies, Dark Days, Darker Nights, stars Glenn Plummer, Paula Jai Parker, um, Denise Boutte, and Marcus Polk from Moesha.
Yeah.
Um, and it's an anthology. It's super dope, super dope. And so myself and Damian Smith, he wrote it and directed. Myself and Big Steel from Gangster Chronicles, we pulled all our stuff together, and everybody played their position to bring it to life. So it just hit Tubi. By the time, I don't know when this interview come out, but it just literally hit Tubi, and it's already going crazy, already on fire. And Glenn Plummer did his thing, bro. He is
Yeah.
really he is really the consummate professional and actor and talent and thespian. So it's a dope ass, like, even just yesterday, it just went live on Tubi literally, a few days ago. And people are already messaging me like, dude, that movie was crazy, dog. I didn't see that coming. So yeah. I'm really excited and proud about that project, proud of that project. And then I'm a producer on that. The other movie, A Little Piece of Heaven, I'm actually an actor. I'm a co-star.
Okay.
So it's myself, Travis Cure from The Oval, Jasmine Lewis from Barbershop,
Barbershop.
and Lisa Wu from Housewives, and Rashawn Ali from, I think, TV1, or she's on one of them reality shows.
Oh,
But yeah, it's super dope. It's a dramedy, kind of a romantic dramedy. Um, and I play a vindictive, toxic ex-husband. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited for people to see me in that role, and this will be coming out on All Black. It's We TV All Black. So yeah, that'll be coming out. It'll be soon, probably in the next few months. You'll see it. So
okay.
that's what I have right now, that's coming out. I have another movie. I don't know why the title escapes me, but there's another movie I have that's coming out. But yeah.
Okay. Now, do you prefer like doing movies or more rap?
Um, um, no, I prefer. I'm gonna be very honest with you, bro. I prefer the creative space of movies and content.
Okay.
Music, even though I will forever be a fan of music. Now, I don't want to be disrespectful, and I don't want to ruffle feathers, though I am a fan of the new music. I love the new music and the youngsters, but what I'm not a fan of is necessarily their disposition and the way that the youngsters see things. This generation sees things. So I'm saying that to say I have really no desire to deal with the music business. You know what I'm saying?